Hi everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. I hope y'all have had a wonderful day. It's been a fun day for us. We've made a quick trip to Northwest Arkansas. I'm actually in Fort Smith. I don't know if I ever told you that, but we made a quick trip to Northwest Arkansas to get some pictures. I'm a realtor and we're getting ready to list my niece's house up there. It was gorgeous. We had a fun day. But I wanted to get home and get dinner started for tomorrow. I'm taking lunch to the staff at First Baptist Church. And you know, you have tried and true recipes, and then you have recipes that you have decided are special. This lasagna recipe to me is very special because it is labor intensive. It's following directions. It's not hard. I kind of hate that this is the second recipe that we're doing together because it's got so many more steps than our little steak that we made. But it's delicious. And I tell you how I found it. I wanted to make lasagna and I Googled world's best lasagna. This is the recipe that came up. I printed it out and I've used it ever since. And I have taken it to different places. We've had it here for special occasions. I've made it many, many times, and I usually have to calculate the difference in my recipe just so I'll know what the dimensions are, what I'll need of all the different ingredients. So tonight it's a big one because I've done it for 30. And I was just going to show you, I don't know if you can see my book. Let me see if I can show it to you. I'm pretty much a self-taught cook, which most of y'all probably are too. I have done this, and this is my main dish, side dish, cookies, and desserts. Right here, we have our lasagna recipe. And what I've done many times, I'll see something, I'll think it's really good, looks good on paper, and I'll make it. If it's delicious, it makes its way into this book. I've got other books for different topics, but this is our main dish. If I make it once and I don't like it, it doesn't make the book. So anyway, this lasagna made the book, so it's delicious. So let me tell you where we're at right now. I started, like I said, this is for 30 people. So I started with 2.5 pounds of Italian sausage. It's just the Johnsonville mild Italian sausage. 2.5 pounds of that. And then I needed 2 pounds of ground beef. And they were having a really good deal on the 90-10. So that's what I got. So it's not going to be as fatty, but the sausage is fatty. So that's what's in here. And I wanted to show you my nifty Pampered Chef meat chopper. I use this anytime I have ground beef or sausage, and it really helps you get that all chopped up. And well worth the time, and it's wonderful and well worth the money. So I have finished with that. I can now use my big spoon. So all that I've got in this pot is the sausage and ground beef. And truthfully, there's not enough fat in there for me to worry about trying to drain it. So we're going to start adding to this pot the different things that I have set out. So our next step is going to be the onion. I'll go ahead and tell you how much this is, but your recipe is going to vary a lot because you're not going to cook for 30, especially your first one. But that's 1 1/4 cup of onion. And I'm going to show you how I chop that. You'll see that in just a little bit. I also have my garlic. Let me grab my knife. I'm so sorry. I thought I had everything gathered up. This just helps me get this in. I needed 5 cloves of garlic, which sounds like a lot, but again, this is going to feed 30 people. This is the garlic I used, Spice World, fresh peeled. The thing is, I've seen them use this a lot on Food Network. Hey, if they're going to use it, I'll use it. And anyway, delicious. Chopped it up. It's good to go. Now I've got my spices. Let me look to see if I can tell you exactly what we've got. We have in here 1 tablespoon and 3/4 of basil, 1/4 a cup plus 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 1/4 teaspoon of fennel, 2 1/2 teaspoons of Italian sausage, 1 tablespoon plus 3/4 a teaspoon of salt, 1/2 a teaspoon of pepper. All that's in here, and it's going in to season it up. And I just like going ahead and getting it all measured out, getting it all put together, because now we're going to start putting in our really good tomatoes. We've got 3 different kinds of tomatoes that we're using tonight. Let me get this all stirred up really good, because we are going to start with 70 ounces of crushed tomatoes. And I've kind of mixed this together, so let me just tell you what all is in it. It's 70 ounces of the crushed tomatoes, 30 ounces of tomato paste, and 32.5 ounces of tomato sauce. So we're going to add that all in here. When we get this all added, we're going to have an hour and a half to sit down, watch TV, or whatever. Here I have, and like I said, you'll notice I've put the tomato paste in with the tomato sauce. So we're going to pour that in, get all that good tomato goodness in there. And then the crushed tomatoes really taste delicious too. So this is a big, heavy duty. Let me see if I can make this not splash all over the stove. We are going to have a full pot, guys. A full pot of deliciousness. Get all that in. Hope to goodness I can stir it. We also need to add a cup and a half of water, because you think about all the tomatoes and all the paste and all the stuff we've got in there. Let's get this stirred up. Like I said, we took a trip to Northwest Arkansas to take pictures of my niece's house. I'm a realtor. That's my full-time job. But I love cooking. That's what I love to do. I get home, I may have had a really hard day, but boy, I tell you, if I get in the kitchen, I just feel revitalized. So this, I'm breaking it up. We've got quite a bit of the tomato paste. Let me just double check my recipe, make sure I've got everything in. The only thing I need to add, I think, is our parsley. This calls for a half a cup of parsley. So that goes in, and it is nice to have something fresh. I'll tell you a quick little story. I have a parsley plant in the backyard, and while we were gone today, something ate my whole parsley plant. I hadn't bought parsley to make this because I had a plant in the backyard. Well, when I got home, the plant was completely gone. And 2 beautiful heirloom tomatoes that were just about ready to be picked, also gone. So, luckily for me, I live close to Walmart. Anyway, that's what we've got in our pot. This is what happens now. For an hour and a half, simmering, covered. So I am going to put the lid on, make sure I've got it down low, and in an hour and a half, we'll be back together. That's when we'll have all the fun of putting it all together and getting it ready to take for company tomorrow. So I'll see you in just a little bit. Hey everybody, I just wanted to show you this real quick. I have this Pampered Chef, and it's a food chopper. And I normally will chop up my onions, but this makes it so easy. I wanted to just show you how you do it, because you may want to contact your Pampered Chef dealer and get one of these. But you just take your onion, I just lop off the top and the bottom, throw that in my little garbage bowl, and then peel the onion off, all the outside skin. Sometimes I go a little bit deeper because I don't like the imperfection. But then just chop it again. Put your handy food chopper over it and prepare. This is going to be a little noisy. I usually do it about 20 or 25 times. More if I need it a little more fine. But look at that. Isn't that awesome? Didn't have to chop and spend all that time chopping. I wanted to show you again the very same thing on the garlic, but you know, sometimes you'll want that garlic really, really small. So let's say we're going to go a little bit longer. I did 30 on that. You might do a little bit more, but look how nice and fine that is. And this just comes apart. You put it in your dishwasher and you are done. Okay, we are about 30 minutes away from putting our pasta, our lasagna together. I wanted you to see how delicious this sauce looks. You know, I never cut short this recipe. It says to cook this for 90 minutes. I cook it for 90 minutes. You stir it every 10 to 15 minutes. You know, you'll be doing something else, just you'll come by and stir it. It smells fabulous. The house smells fabulous. My pasta water is ready, so I'm going to salt it up. I'm going to put about a tablespoon and a half of salt in it, but I'm doing a lot of pasta. So lasagna noodles going in. We need 30 noodles, and I think I actually have quite a bit more than that, But I'm going to go ahead and cook them because I like to make sure they're really, really pretty. So if some of them are broken or stuck together, I can eliminate them and go to another one. So we're doing this. 8 minutes, the pasta will be ready. I'll let it cool a minute, probably about 10 minutes, so when I handle it, it won't be so hot. So anyway, we continue to wait 30 minutes and counting. Hey, we are now into the cheese time for the lasagna. So this is the ricotta, 30 ounces of ricotta. I've added 3 eggs, and I have also put in a tablespoon of parsley. So this is ready. This is part of the layering process. So now we're going to move over to our Parmesan cheese. And a lot of times I would just do this on a hand grater, but I need so much that I'm going to run it through my food processor with that was lovely. But that's going to get it all chopped up, and we're going to have it for the different layers. And I won't make y'all listen to me while I chop this all up, but we're going to have this, and we're going to get our assembly line ready. We've dropped the pasta. We'll let it cool, and when we come back, we'll be putting together our lasagna. So I'll see you in just a few minutes. We are down to the final stretch with our lasagna, and doesn't it look fabulous? We have a whole bunch of stuff here that we're just setting an assembly line, and we're going to put it together. You'll see how very easy it is. These steps are going to be the same if you're making for 6 or you're making for 30. So because I'm taking this to the church, to our wonderful staff who've been working so hard, we're currently without a pastor, and that means they have to work extra hard. So anyway, disposable pans, but if you're going to use it for your family, put it in a beautiful 9 by 13 dish. So this is how we're going to start. You want to make sure nothing sticks, so you want to get about 1.5 cups in the very bottom. Spread it out, and oh my gosh, this smells fabulous. Spread that out. Okay, it's lasagna. So the next one we're going to go in with are noodles. It says you need 6 across. I don't think my pan's quite wide enough, so we're going to do 5. If we see that we really have a little extra room, we may put in a 6th one, but I think 5 is going to be just exactly what we need. I think 6 is going to be too much, and it may not even take 5. But noodles across. Yeah, I think I'm just going to get 4 across. Okay, that's your first layer of noodles. It's going to be several layers, so if we want to put an extra layer of noodles, we can also do that. We're going to use our ricotta. Here's the thing, because we don't know how many we'll actually get, I want to use a good amount of this ricotta, but I'm also going to have at least 1, maybe 2 other lasagnas the same size that I'm going to get out of this. So all you want to make sure is that you get it a good cover. Cover that noodle up really good. So that's our next layer. That's just the 3rd one. Then we're going to go with our mozzarella. I buy this already sliced, and it's going to give and it's going to move out a little bit, so they don't have to just be sitting right on top of each other, but you need to make sure you have good coverage. And looks like we're going to have about 12 slices. So there's 8, 9, well, 10, 11. Okay, we just need 11 slices. That's the next layer. So then we're going to come back with another layer of meat, because that first layer, even though it was a full layer, it was mainly just to make sure that nothing sticks. So, delicious layer of meat. Just think about all these layers and how delicious this is going to be. Another thing to consider too, I may have gotten a little bit too much meat on there. You don't want it sloppy. When you cut it, you want them to be able to see the layers. Okay, now we're going to do a layer of Parmesan. And you saw how I cut that up using my food processor, because that would have been a lot of scraping if I'd had to do it on my cheese grater. Okay, now we're going to go back to our noodles. And we'll see, we may put these a little bit closer so we can get a 5th one on there, but there's no way we'd get 6. Everybody following along okay? You know, it's not rocket science. It is following directions. And we can all follow directions. We've all gotten to whatever age we are. Okay, after the noodles, we're going to do the ricotta, another layer of ricotta. Doesn't it look pretty with the fresh parsley in there? I got to figure out what ate my parsley in the backyard. I've seen it before. We actually stood there and watched something pull it all the way underneath the ground, so I don't know what that would be. But anyway, he got a nice big parsley bush. But like I say, Walmart's always got more. Okay, we've got this layer. We're going to go with another layer of mozzarella. This is super cheesy, super delicious. And I'm really excited to take it and share it with them tomorrow. You know, we have, our church is a large church, and we have 4 different couples in my office that go to our church. So when we came up with this idea, we just decided we'd take something good for them to eat. Dinah, I think, is bringing salad and bread, and Jane's bringing dessert, and I think Paige was going to help us, but she's knee-deep in weddings. So we are going to have a delicious lunch for everybody, and that makes it nice because we all kind of just pitch in. Okay, that's our next layer. We are actually going to go with the last layer of meat, and then we'll put our layer of Parmesan. And you know, here's the thing too. It doesn't matter if you got it out of order, you won't, because print out that recipe, world's best lasagna. Can't go wrong with that. Tell it how many people you're feeding. It'll tell you exactly what you need. And then we're going to top this with our Parmesan. This just looks fabulous. And because I'm taking it tomorrow, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, which if I wasn't putting it in the refrigerator, I would go ahead and cover it with foil. Let me grab my foil. But this is a very important step because the top layer is cheese. You want to make sure that that cheese doesn't melt, doesn't stick, because wouldn't that be sad if you got ready to put your lasagna out and took the foil off and all the cheese was stuck to it. So we are going to tighten this up, put it to bed for the night. Tomorrow I will take it out, let it warm just a little bit. Once I feel like it's warmed up enough, I'll set my oven at 375 and let it cook. It's going to need to cook for about an hour tomorrow just to come up to temperature, but you can kind of watch the top. About halfway through, you go ahead and take that foil off so you can get a real good melt on the top. And I'm sorry if this was a little daunting, but I promise you it's worth it. And your family will not believe you made that lasagna. So I hope you had a great time. I hope you learned some things. I promise our next one will not be so labor intensive, but I also want to promise you that if you make this, you will not disappoint anyone that takes a bite. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being with me today, and I hope you have a great evening.